Yo, what's going on, y'all? Today I want to talk about the Michael Brown case again. For y'all that do not know, Michael Brown was gunned down in the streets of Ferguson, Missouri by a white police officer for simply walking in the street. Now, what kills me is that every time you turn on the news right now, all the headlines read, Michael Brown was a suspect in an armed robbery. Michael Brown did not have a gun. His friend did not have a gun. The store clerk did not have a gun. Nobody pulled out guns. Why is this being considered an armed robbery? I'm going to tell you why. Because the Ferguson Police Department right now is trying to influence a jury of his peers so when the trial comes ahead, they can say simply this. This man was a suspect in an armed robbery. He was considered armed and dangerous. The officer was trying to defend himself. The officer had the right to defend himself because, hey, this kid just robbed a store. He didn't rob anything. He simply stole a pack of cigars. And it breaks my heart that we are allowing these people, the news media, to push this story to try to make this young man seem like a criminal. This young man just graduated high school. This young man was headed to college. In no way should this young man's name be tarnished in this light. It's absolutely disrespectful to his family and it's even more disrespectful to the deceased. And then they wonder why we riot. They wonder why we tear stuff up. They treat us like pure dirt. If you read the comments on CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, these white folk right now are talking about the police deserves a medal. The police officer killed a gangbanger. The police officer killed somebody that was going to commit a crime anyway one day, even if he didn't commit a crime that day. This is what they're saying. So I'm saying they've already tarnished his name. And this young boy was going to college. He had a bright future ahead of him. And I'm so sick and tired of them painting us in this light. I'm so sick and tired of them making young black boys look like criminals, making young black girls look like ratchet, hood, want to fight all the time women. They only do this to us. They don't treat white boys this way. They don't treat white girls this way. When Miley Cyrus was twerking on TV, it was funny. It was funny to everybody. But if you see a black girl doing that, they talk about how she has no home training, how her mama or how her father wasn't there. It's disrespectful to the black race, and we gotta stop letting them do this to us, man. I'm telling y'all, I see it over and over again, day in and day out. The first 5 minutes of the news on any station in any city, they talk about what we do to each other. Black on black violence. And I don't like to call that black on black violence. I like to call it geographical violence. White crime happens where white people live. Black crime happens where black people live. Hispanic crimes happen where Hispanic people live. And they kill me when they try to divert their attention away from the injustice by saying, oh, 100 people got killed in Chicago. We understand that things are going on in our communities that shouldn't be going on, but so what? We're dealing with today. We're going to deal with Chicago. We're going to deal with LA. We're going to deal with New York. We're going to deal with Baltimore. We're going to deal with Durham, North Carolina. We're going to deal with Rocky Mount, North Carolina. But today, we're dealing with Ferguson, Missouri. So y'all can go ahead with all that, trying to divert us away from the actual racism and the white supremacy that's going on. Because in my mind, you ain't talking about nothing that's going on in this country, whether it's black on black crime, white on white crime, Hispanic on Hispanic crime. You ain't talking about nothing unless you're ready to deal with racism and white supremacy. Because at the end of the day, it comes down to the oppression of a people who don't know which way is right. But don't nobody want to deal with that. Don't nobody want to deal with that. That's why that state trooper, that's why that police chief yesterday from St. Louis said, I'm marching with the people. Because at some point, we got to understand that you can't always rule with an iron fist. At some point, you got to understand that you have to show that we are police officers, we understand what you're going through. But ain't nobody talking about that. They talking about the looting. This ain't nothing but a show of frustration and anger that's been long overdue. And I'm telling y'all, it's going to get worse. If they take this man to trial, they say, well, listen, Michael Brown was in an armed robbery. So technically, the officer was trying to defend himself because he was armed and dangerous. Then guess what? They're going to tear that city slam up. And I don't blame them because at the end of the day, they should not have allowed them to show that video of him robbing that store. Or excuse me, see? They should have not been allowed to show that video of him taking a pack of cigars if it had nothing to do with him getting killed. The police chief said the officer who shot him had no idea of this armed robbery. So why show the video? Because it's the influence. They're trying to get into your head. Even some black people now saying, hey, well, he stole some cigars. So what? I'm not falling for the okie doke. I'm not falling for the banana in the tailpipe. Not me, not now, not ever. And anybody I run across that even tries to come up with that nonsense, I let them know straight up, you can kill that. Because all they trying to do now is divert the attention away from the issue at hand. They shot this young boy in the street. They gunned him down like a freaking animal. His friend said, yo, he shot my man at the truck. My man took off, shot him again. My man's turned around with his hands up, he shot him again. That's cold-blooded murder, man. That's cold-blooded murder. And then they wonder why we so defensive. They wonder why we so angry all the time. If I got on a hoodie, I'm automatically a suspect. Come on, man, I'm a college graduate. So what? I got tattoos. They don't stereotype white boys like that. They only stereotype black men like that. And they wonder why we carry around the anger we carry around. So all we can do, people in Ferguson right now, continue to be steadfast, continue to march, continue to keep your foot on the neck. Do not let up. Until we get justice, we will not stop. We will not stop. Warren Ballantyne is calling for economic blackout. I'm with it. Are y'all with it? RellTalk.